What's going on, guys?
I'm sorry.
Childish Demon.
Danny Adamio.
Bruce Banner.
And welcome to Panel to Panel. It's a new semester, new season, blah, 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 blah,
New
blah.
year.
Yeah. So what you was doing?
Huh?
Again?
Oh, well, yeah. Basically, I was reading some new stuff.
Cool.
I'll talk about that in a minute.
Awesome.
All right. Over the break, was working, reading stuff. Hopefully creating a strip for the newspaper that's going to be funny.
Yeah.
And I was working and reading.
Yeah. Something about right for everybody. Yeah.
So cool. So I know Bruce Banner apparently has most of the comics that he's been reading was new. So
Yeah,
get him started.
Well, since it was like, I guess, most of y'all probably don't know or don't care. I read majority of Marvel stuff, but I have also interest in other comics outside of the Marvel franchise. And since I've been waiting for some of these comics, and it's been taking, whiles and whiles for them to come around, over the break I just started branching out and looking at other stuff. And ongoing series that I've been reading is Morning Glories. That's one from Image.
Morning Glories.
Yeah, Morning Glories.
I know what you're
It's
talking about.
really good, in my opinion. I think everybody should give it a shot. Premise is basically this school for gifted children. That's like a boarding school, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And everything ain't what it seems.
Oh, it's not.
No, there's some things there just, way out. And it does touch on a sci-fi fantasy kind of aspect, but it comes on a little bit later.
Right.
So, it gives you the dabble of that stuff, and, as I'm reading now, it's still kind of, well, obviously I'm far into it, so break, I ain't had not much else to do besides a little working. So, that, other than that, I picked up Aphrodite 9. I haven't read it yet. It's sitting there. So, but yeah, that's something else I'm planning on reading.
That one's really developing lately.
Yeah, that's what I was like. It seemed interesting. Cyborg Assassin from the past going to the future, I believe. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, and that's something I'm going to do. Fables. I know I mentioned that way back.
Right.
Episode 1, if y'all even watch that. That's something I really enjoy also. Fables is really great. I plan on reading that. And maybe Ferris when I catch up, because Ferris is going on now.
Really?
Ferris is essentially the Fable, but it's focusing more on the female-centered characters in Fable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So far, it seems like most of it is really kind of like some of the stuff it's doing with Cinderella.
Oh,
So,
alright.
yeah.
Alright.
And if you don't know anything about Fable essentially takes all your fantasy storybook characters and kind of twist them around and give you a different perspective of them. I really do enjoy it. So far,
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I like that.
Because, central main character is kind of Bigby Wolf, who is essentially the big bad wolf.
Right.
And he's he was the sheriff of Fabletown for a while. Snow White.
Right.
She essentially ran the city.
Famous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, I know.
Character I like, who I think is pretty funny and kind of fits his name if he was, an actual man. Prince Charming, who's essentially a womanizer. And, yeah, essentially a womanizer. And he's really good at pursuing things. I said so. He's really good. If he wants to go get it, he can go get it. So he can do that. If you read the series, you'll see it often, pretty much.
Yeah.
When he wants to go get it, he gets it done. It may be running for something big or going after women. Gets done. And yeah, he's an asshole. So doesn't hate it. I mean, he respects who he is. So loves.
I like that.
Yeah. So he's one of my favorites. Also, another one is Cinderella, who is essentially she is a spy. Person.
Really?
Yes. She's a spy. So that was a different take on Cinderella. She does her own little gig also. She runs a little shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's a glass slipper. Funny. Yeah, I mean, the characters in there is really great. I mean, like, you hear more about, like, other Fable characters, maybe you're not known. Like, they touch on a lot of them. There's from the Obscure to, like, Boy Blue to, like, and the bigger ones are, like, the ones that are, like, not really meant for children, I guess, like Bluebeard, stuff like that. All in all, it's a really great series. Deep in, it's about, like, I think, issue 137 now.
Damn.
I'm trying to catch up, but
That's deep.
Yeah. Also, with that, I read the spinoff, which was a spinoff series, Jack of Fables, which is essentially over Jack. I forget his last name. Who was essentially the Jack of every Fable story that's been told. The one about Beanstalk and the Giant Slayer and the Jack in the Hill and the Jack from
That's all the same Jack.
Yeah, he's essentially the same Jack,
Right.
and he's an interesting character because he's essentially
I bet since he all the same.
Right?
he's just kind of like a prankster. He's a man who makes a bunch of schemes and they really fall through. He's kind of like that guy who never really grew up, kind of trying to get rich quick scheme, but it doesn't really work. So, yeah. Also, besides that, well, that's done already, but like that was something else I was reading. Another continued series I'm going on. I picked up FPB, Federal Bureau of Physics. That's something also that's fairly new. Essentially, like I said, it's physics. It's a comic. It's like if physics started acting really funny in the world. Like, it got to a point where you would have to call for people, like, okay, well, initially, like, in the first one, I guess, like, the situation at the school where they had to call 911, and they had a new emergency response was physics. So they had the people come out and look at physics. Like, in this case, gravity was acting weird at this school in this one particular spot. There was no gravity. So people were just kind of floating around whatever the fuck they want.
Would you call that in? I wouldn't call it in. I had the best fun of my life.
No,
right?
well, obviously the students would call it in, but, principal and stuff like, yeah, this is kind of weird. I want to call 911 to get the physics brew
They
out
must start
here.
paying people to come down this hall.
Yeah.
I'd be floating down the hallway.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And, it's like it messes with physics about how, it's different and how, if physics just kind of really went out of whack sometimes. Cool. And they are essentially the people you call to go in to fix these problems.
Right.
It's pretty interesting. Especially since, like, it kind of opened up essentially to the point where, something else I'm talking about. The issue they had in it was, after that, the issue at the school, they had something else happen where, this can't explain. I forgot. Essentially, damn it.
It's cool. Take time.
I mean, like I guess it's only 7 issues in, but like I said, if you really want to figure out the rest of it, go check it out.
But it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, so far it's about 7 issues in. It's really had its like kind of twists and whatever you need. It's kind of kept you up to date. Starts off a little slow in my opinion, but like it builds it up. So another thing I was gonna read. Another thing I'm reading is Coffin Hill, which is something that's fairly new also. It's 3 issues in. It's about this woman named Eve Coffin, and it dabbles with dark magic, essentially. Nice. And a case that happened 10 years ago when she was a teenager, where she released this thing out in the forest. Since like her whole family, or all the family, or all the women in her family who are all essentially tied to witches. So they all have some kind of witchcraft, sorcery type of thing going around them. Yeah, they all have a thing with witches. And she left, she comes back, and people are missing in the woods again, and she thinks back. It kind of goes back and forth between her what happened in the woods when she initially did whatever she did there, and then what's going on now since she goes back. Yeah, and she comes back to the city or whatever she went to. She didn't like it there. She was a rebel. She did some weird shit.
Say fuckheads.
Damn.
Shut the fuck up. For
Run
anybody
podcast.
that wants some
You can
actual room,
Yeah.
you can follow us here.
Okay.
All right, bye.
All right.
Come on, you bastards.
Let's go now and just pause and.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you get a quick tour of the stop. What is this nonsense?
So yeah, we
Yeah,
pick up
you
where we
get over
left off.
here. Let us sit down there. You go over here. I mean, all the way across. All right, fine. You don't sit by him. Just go ahead and sit over here by me. I might look at him like, wow.
See?
Yeah. All right. There we go.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, we're back in here. So, what
With
was
one-
I
with-
was
with,
Yeah, I was talking
goddamn
about
editing.
Cuff and Hill.
With 2 extra people.
Yeah. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
what
go
it
ahead.
is.
Introduce.
All right, we shut up.
All right, fine. You get not a part of this.
What up? They call me Madge, Pokemon
I'll call you
enthusiast, heavy fan of Marvel, likes DC a
All right,
little
you
bit.
done. That's it. 5 seconds.
Yeah,
All right.
it's
Oh, 5 seconds, really?
yeah, it won't need all that.
Just say your name.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So yeah, like I said, last thing I was reading, what was it? Coffin Hill.
Yeah,
Fairly
fuck it.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go check it out. You like your mysteries and your edgy characters, you know, you can give it a shot. Or just, you know, rebel teens growing up to be rebellious adults, whatever. There's something else. I don't remember. Oh yeah, Revolutionary War, Marvel.
Revolutionary War.
Yeah, Revolutionary War Alpha. It's the Revolutionary War. It's basically the reprise of. It's the revival of all the Marvel UK or mainstay Marvel UK
alright.
characters.
Okay.
It's an interesting
Like
concept.
Captain Britain and
Yeah,
all that
Captain Britain's never left.
shit. Yeah.
But like the other ones that like people probably have forgotten since like they had a big collapse I guess with the Marvel UK back in like the early 90s or something. Yeah. So they're bringing those back and they brought in a bunch of characters: Dark Angel, Motormouth, Kill, Raise. What's it? I don't know what his name is.
So
Weird
what's the
name.
new lineup of Excalibur then?
I don't know. I mean, like Revolutionary War is going on. It's supposed to be a 12-part series. Right now, essentially, I'm reading that, and they're supposed to be going back against Mice Tech, whatever. The big corporation for like what Marvel UK, who they were essentially fighting, kind of like what Oscorp did, shit like that.
Gotcha.
Is
I
it
think
bringing in
that's-
MI12?
MI12. They haven't mentioned anything else except like MI13, but they haven't mentioned any other MI groups besides that.
Shit.
In the first issue, Revolutionary War Alpha. Go check it out. It's out now. Revolutionary War Dark Angel is the next one. I believe that's coming out next week or maybe this Wednesday.
It might come out Wednesday.
Yeah. Other than that, I think I'm reading one more. I'm not sure. Yeah, all new X Factor.
Yeah.
That's
Which
recent.
one?
The all
The
new
new
X Factor.
series
Yeah,
just
the new
came
series.
out.
It just came out. All new
So-
X Factor 1.
Did they get rid of Cable and X Factor?
No,
Or they
the
still got
Cable
that
X
one?
Force is still going. That's Cable and X Force. Yeah, it's still
So
going.
this is
all new
with
X
the-
Factor. Yeah, this is
Huh.
a brand new series.
Who's on the lineup for
So
that one?
far in there, they introduced Gambit, Polaris, and Silver Surfer. Oh well, not Silver Surfer. Quicksilver.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why I said
Really?
Silver.
So
Yeah.
what was X Factor essentially as a team? Weren't they like the public eye of the
I thought
X
they
Men?
was-
Originally in the 90s, that's what they were. They were they were the X-Men.
That were in the
Publics.
mainstream,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So this is what this X Factor is. They're essentially the representation of this new company, and they're a company team essentially. That is for this company that basically their whole thing is like they're there to help people.
So they're like the PR.
So almost what Iron Man was to Stark Industries?
Essentially.
Huh.
Kind of like that, whatnot. I mean, but like they're a corporate super group and they're there to help people. So since the company's there to basically help people, essentially, so they're gonna go out and do these missions, that for people in need, I guess. Or
so the anti-corporate.
yeah.
So what the Dark Avengers were to Oscorp.
Essentially,
Yeah, I guess you could say like that
yeah.
in a way. Yeah.
All right, so
Like, how you regulate it and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna go out and try to. I guess people have issues and whatnot. But for now, it just started. There might be more in the lineup in a way, but for now, it's just Gambit, Polaris, and Quicksilver. That's what they introduced in the first issue.
That's interesting, kind of having Quicksilver and Gambit. I mean, because as far as personalities wise, they kind of just
that's what they already had a little
like Wolverine and Cyclops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the clash between those two was a female.
Yeah.
It could be the same thing between Quicksilver.
Yeah, so that's how that goes. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm reading that's current. No, I think that's about it. That's about 7, 6 problems I picked up.
I know over the
on
break.
top of Harley.
Harley came out.
Harley
Came out.
yeah,
that was decent.
Ain't nothing really happened.
It would. She didn't. She was just setting up.
Yeah,
Really?
it's principally set up.
So
something happened with Dr. J to where she had to leave.
Right.
So I can't remember where she went. What town
She's
went
in
to.
New York.
Is it? I don't know, whatever. So she went there and somebody was giving her a place to stay or whatever.
Yeah,
but she had to pay for it.
Watch over.
Mm-hmm.
She runs this whole building.
She runs a whole.
Really?
Yeah, she runs this apartment complex.
Yeah, apartment complex basically.
Yeah.
But she has to pay for it. She's trying to figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah, so she's
That's pretty
picking
much
up
it.
jobs. She's
Yeah,
doing roller derby
by
at night.
and then
She's
corporate
an
job in the
actual.
morning.
Yeah,
Really?
Some corporate
she
job
does
in the morning.
her doctor.
Well, because she
Yeah,
is a
'cause she's a
psychologist.
Yeah. I don't know
So
how.
she had to put makeup on.
Yeah,
and stuff.
actual makeup to make her look human.
And then she's like, "Oh yeah, this is my type of shit."
So I guess I didn't know what exactly happened to her skin pigment back in the day. I mean,
I don't know.
Did
I
she
guess
bleach
it's
it?
permanent. I didn't
Yeah,
think so either.
I thought she.
No, I thought that was like makeup that she had always worn
that's what
up until then.
Yeah,
I feel like I heard she bleached herself.
Really?
I don't remember that.
Because she may have done
Yeah.
it.
Because she did
I
the
don't
Joker.
remember.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But so that was pretty good. I'm excited for that. The
I was
origin.
actually kinda,
The Wolverine Origin 2 came out. That was
I
great.
still need to pick that one up.
You didn't read it?
No,
it's
I
good,
haven't
man.
read it
It's
yet,
real
man.
good. It's different from the first one.
Yeah.
Because this is basically him being an animal.
All right, so I'm stopping
So
by comics
it's gonna be real good. He was fighting bears and
Yeah, he was doing all the wilderness stuff.
yeah, it was good, man.
Who's writing this one?
I wish I looked. But it's good.
I need to look that up, man, because if it's a continuation, I definitely want to read
Yeah,
it.
it was really good.
Look that up, man.
What else I read? Morning Glories, great.
Yeah, put him down on that.
That was pretty much. I can't think of nothing else because it was slow during the break.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's
Yeah.
why I
It
had
was
to
a
pick
little
up
slow
some
during
stuff. I was like,
It was a little slow.
What-
When it's
what
your
was
turn,
it?
you can go ahead and say something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. Other than that, I ain't really been doing too much.
Alright, so what I've been reading a few. Alright, so I caught up with the All New X-Men.
yeah.
The
pretty good
introduction
right
of X-23.
Yeah.
Man. I'm liking it so far. I'm liking it so far.
That's what I'm saying.
You
go
also
in
got
there.
that weird dynamic between Kid Cyclops and
And
Laura
Laura,
now.
yeah,
it's
that's
just
what's like.
yeah, everyone's like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
So he's trying
the
to hook
clone
up
of
with Wolverine's clone.
Yeah.
Something's
It's
weird
kinda,
here.
yeah.
You know, and it's starting to get a little bit to Jean too, you know, because that's supposed to be her main squeeze
all
and whatnot.
But she can do whatever.
Yeah, she can do whatever
great.
she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can do whatever she
Scott
wants.
can't do nothing. He's got to be faithful all day.
Considering we all end up forgetting this shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, they will all forget. So caught up on that one. Caught up on Superior Spider-Man, which y'all heard the news, of course, right? You happy about that one?
Hold on,
Yeah.
what Bruce?
Yeah.
What?
Huh?
Bruce? Who?
Oh, you haven't heard you haven't heard what's
No.
gonna be happening? You haven't seen any of the advertisements?
No.
They're bringing back Amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What I was just showing you?
Yeah,
The
the
Infinite?
Yeah.
Infinite?
Well,
that's something.
Well,
different,
what they're alluding to is that they're bringing back Parker.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now it's gonna be
essentially because like the thing is like
no, they're bringing them back
because like
this year.
I figured because like from what I can understand is like this recent arc is about to end with Venom.
Yeah.
So, and after that, immediately, I already know they're gonna go into this thing with Goblin.
Yeah.
So after that is the big issue of what's really going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now, as Venom, he's about to go up against the Avengers too.
Yeah, they called him the Avengers.
Yeah, I got
Mary Jane called
So
him the Avengers.
they're already sending. They're already posting.
So did they already come or
no? This is gonna be in the next issue.
Okay,
this
cool.
is 15 dropping out.
No, you're not.
I've been waiting forever. It was supposed to come out earlier. It still hasn't. I've been waiting.
Okay,
we've been waiting on this issue to come out. But so far they've been advertising. They've been showing pictures and all that for Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
they're
bringing back
it's
Amazing.
like it's playing with my heart.
Yeah,
I'm like,
playing with Bruce's heart here. Yeah, because they're gonna be bringing back Pete.
Man.
So I don't know.
Cool.
See, and the thing is, it's not really a spoiler to know that they're gonna bring it back. Because what I really want to know is how they're gonna bring it back.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the really big.
Magic. Of course it's magic. Doctor Strange
They
come out
can
of
do
nowhere.
whatever. Yo, Strange got his mind fixed.
This is a long time ago.
They replace Ock. They just do a
What's his name?
heroes.
Mephisto's gonna come out somewhere.
Yo, I need to make another deal. All right, let's go.
Right.
Like, oh
So,
my gosh, that was so bad.
Well, Mephisto, they only bring him out whenever they need him.
Because I know he was
in.
I know he did the thing where they had Pete and
the One More Day, which was
they
like.
had him,
I don't know. We haven't seen him since. We haven't seen him since.
Well,
so
Mephisto was Mephisto. He actually has a tie-in with the the Marvel UK thing, the Revolution.
Oh, really?
Because he was with the company that fight Mice Tech or whatnot. Yes, he gave them their ability to do whatever.
Well,
I did.
So I don't know if he's gonna be big part of it, but he did have a role in like what that company.
See that's going to be interesting because they're kind of doing that with the Spider-Man series where they have Spider-Man 2009 still.
Yeah, that's what I've been hoping.
Yeah,
I told you that.
Still here.
I know he's here.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was
he's
gonna
still.
stay.
Oh yeah,
still in
he has to
day.
stay.
He's
got to watch his. No, he has to stay. He got to watch it because
he's got to watch his great grandfather.
Stone, because his great grandfather's son initially left him here, so now he has to watch his great grandson, his grandfather or great grandfather
doesn't die and all that.
Yeah, he has to make sure.
And he's also got of doing it.
Yeah, he could have killed him
he
and killed himself.
Yeah,
essentially
wiped out the entire time.
But he's trying to lead him on a straight and narrow or watch where he's gonna do these things. So
gotcha.
Exactly.
All right.
So I've been reading that. Caught up on Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah.
And apparently they're going to be focusing more on the kids now, which is going to be
it's weird.
Be cool.
It's from what I saw.
I want to see what Quentin does because he's gonna. You can tell he's gonna continue to morph down the line.
Oh, for sure.
So, it's gonna be.
I mean, if you had any indication from like Battle of the Atom,
Battle of Atom too,
and he gets the Phoenix Force somehow. So,
but that's a whole different future. So it may not.
It might not happen. It may not. See, and that's the beauty part about comics, right? You can allude to what might happen, but for all you know, by them coming back in time, technically it won't happen anymore.
Beast ain't never gonna grow old.
Therefore, erasing the continuity.
Right? Yeah. And then, so I've been reading that. On the DC side, I stopped reading Action Comics. I took that off my list because essentially, I did like the stories that they were telling with Superman, but that entire line was purely based on the events that were happening. So the story would constantly be hopping, and I got tired of it. I just got tired of it. But I am still following Wonder Woman. In which that story is still going pretty badass. Yeah, it's still going hard, man.
It's a staple. I really was gonna go.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. I mean, the Wonder Woman comic. I mean, you're looking at, like I said before, you're still looking at like straight up ancient Greek gods versus Wonder Woman, and it's still pretty bad, and it's gruesome, man.
I figured actually,
man, it's gotten really like. like the ancient gods, you remember how the punishments they used to give out to each other?
Yeah,
they're still keeping along that line, dude. So
Oh,
like
really?
they got this
Wow,
one dude called like the first son,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like laid out on this table, and they're like carving skin off of him and eating them and shit.
Well, all right.
And it's nuts,
Wonder
dude.
Woman's got
It's
some
good
crazy,
stuff.
yeah.
Good stuff, man.
I lost
I mean,
respect for her during
after-
the Injustice storyline. I really
Did-
did.
Well,
I didn't
that
read
was a
it.
whole different.
I know it was a
didn't
different.
read it.
I know it was
Yeah.
a different one, but it was still the way it was being played out. I was like, so if this hoe has the same attitude as the one that's on the current Earth, this is pretty fucked up.
I didn't read that one. I
Oh,
didn't
that's-
read that
that's
one
a good
at
read.
all.
Well, I
And
mean,
they're
it's a
actually-
pretty
she's a
good
bitch.
read.
They're actually
It's a good read though.
It's going on
really?
year 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's about to go
So,
on year
yeah.
2.
Yeah, I
It
haven't read
continue.
any of those. I mean,
I
I've
don't know
mostly
why they-
been
why they gonna keep
sticking
going.
to the Wonder Woman
Yeah.
comic, and,
Yeah.
and the
There's
comic has been pretty badass. I don't know if they've changed the character anywhere else, because she's also in like what, Superman, Wonder Woman, and whatever else. Who the hell knows, man? And then every other writer wants to give her a completely different personality.
Yeah. All depends on
I
the
hate
writer.
that.
Like this one only uses her rope.
Exactly.
Nothing else.
Oh my god.
God. I hate that with a passion, man.
Her
Just
weakness is
stick with the
bondage.
continuity for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my goodness. I'm glad we're out of the 60s.
Right.
That was
We don't
really
gotta
weird.
harken back to that anymore.
Yeah,
guys.
that was really weird. Like, just
So,
got a secret or something.
but reading that, as far as the any comics out of the big two, I've been reading the
Yeah.
Aphrodite 9,
Yeah,
and that one's still pretty
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
It is still pretty badass.
It caught my interest. I read the first issue of it, so like I was just like, I'll keep trying to go with it.
I mean, like I followed the character whenever David Finch first created it. In the beginning, it was
Yeah, that
just
was a
like
while back.
this was like back in I can't even remember. It was a while
Yeah,
back.
it was.
But
weird.
whenever it first came out, it was just about this kind of, I guess she's considered an android.
Yeah.
Is she an android or a
They
cyborg?
said it
that's
said she
right.
was
Okay,
a
I know what you're
cyborg
talking about.
assassin.
Yeah.
I think she's an android
Yeah, I need to
or a
read that because I
cyborg of some sort.
I heard about it. Not
Yeah.
from y'all, from somebody else. And I
Yeah.
heard it was
And all
No,
she
that's
was
somebody
in the
else.
beginning was just this assassin that every time she killed, she would forget.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
tries to remember who she is and all that.
Yeah.
But they've kind of like Top Cow over the years have taken her and put her into main continuity now, and so I think now we're on version 9 of her.
Yeah.
Whereas beforehand, like in present day, there's like
There's a
version
version
2 or 4 exists right now.
There's
And
plenty
so-
of them.
Just different iterations of her over the
Yeah.
years. So we're officially back at version 9 again.
Yeah.
The world has somehow been utterly messed up, and like the people can only exist around the equator. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the only place where the atmosphere is
Yeah.
livable.
It's
Exactly.
Damn.
And so it's been pretty
Yeah.
badass. Like it's
interesting.
so humanity has sort of split off. So you've had one side of humanity that's completely dependent upon technology. So
Yeah.
they've integrated technology into their bodies.
Okay.
And then you have the other side of humanity who kind of spliced themselves with animals.
Yeah.
So they went
that's how
they
they
went
do
more
shit.
down a biological kind of
Route.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have one side who are kind of like sciencey
Yeah, we
and
love
all that,
technology
kind of
side,
secular.
yeah.
And then you have the other side who's more animalistic and they're more religious and more earthbound
Yeah.
and stuff. And so they're warring over this
This
small
way
strip
from-
of earth
yeah.
that's only inhabitable. Well, now they got through finding out that they're not the only two races that exist.
Really?
And so now it's like
So you got an animal, cyborg, human.
what
Yeah.
now all right, so now
Well, they're
you
all
got
essentially human.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
essentially
yeah.
they're all essentially human. But now
But they
you got
spliced
like
themselves up
Yeah, I
with
got
different things.
you got beings like Aphrodite, right? Who
Yeah.
are pretty much cyborgs.
Yeah.
So who have never had a human life ever.
Right.
And so apparently she's not the only one. And so it's getting pretty
That's
good.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
what
good.
When I get home.
Aphrodite.
Oh yeah.
So now you got
it's
like
freaking
2
good,
days
man.
or
It's
3
good.
days.
You got to
Well, I
it's
gotta
time
catch
for you
up
to
on
catch up.
pages.
See, the thing
That's
is,
what I'm saying.
I've been wanting to read, like, because I kind of want to go back to, like, the Batman books, and I want to, the 52 Batman, and I'm going to
Yeah.
go back to the 52 Superman and read through that. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I don't want to go to a comic book store and start throwing
Yeah.
those backs
Yeah,
issues,
that was
man.
like.
What websites do y'all go to?
Well, like I
We
said,
talked
like
about
I mean,
this.
you can go
We should
specifically
edit
to
this, we
like.
should edit this part right now
We should edit
Hold
this
up,
part
but-
right now.
using a disclaimer.
You should not do this at home, guys.
We do not condone the actions that are about to be
Press the button on the
done.
YouTube channel. and skip
You
this
can
part.
essentially
To not get the
still
FBI
go
on
to the
you.
main websites
Well, you
like
can,
DC
yeah.
and Vertigo and Marvel and stuff to
And you
get
can
them.
buy
Yeah.
them the digital copy.
Yeah, because the digital ones are always
buying
still
digital
Well, yeah,
there.
you can
copy, guys.
always.
use the app.
We're
The
not
app is good.
advocating
The app, too.
piracy in
The
the
app is good.
slightest.
The app is
Yeah.
The app is great when it
Yeah.
works.
Those, yeah.
When it shuts down every
Whenever
5
it
seconds.
Yeah, if you also have a device that use apps, go ahead.
Yeah.
Get the Marvel or the DC app. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And
But,
you should be able to
Other
buy it.
situations, you know.
We're not advocating
Yeah.
anything.
And again,
Like, you know,
Ah.
nothing like,
Yeah.
you know, getting it.
T-word your life.
Yeah.
T-word your life.
Y'all just gonna
That's
have to pass me a piece of paper.
Yeah,
with,
we'll do
something
that
written
later.
on that.
I don't know, there's cameras in here.
Yeah.
write it down real quick.
And I don't advocate any
No,
of this.
I
guys.
actually-
Yeah, I don't either. But
I was
see,
actually
like,
going to go to the comic store and buy a shitload of comics, but I
Really?
couldn't make it.
I couldn't
Man,
do that with certain
it's
ones.
tough,
I
man.
couldn't make it.
Unless I buy
Yeah.
like the collective volume.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah, I
essentially
don't mind.
doing. That's
I
what
don't
I
mind
started
buying a
doing
whole-
too.
Yeah, you can always wait.
I've
until
always did the
volume comes out.
volume
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't
That's
mind
what
to
I
when the
do.
volume
Because
comes
I
out.
still have my volumes of DMC.
Yeah.
I mean DMZ, and I'm gonna do the Morning Glory packs that are coming up.
See,
because they're at
I've been
volume
wanting-
6 now.
Yeah.
Because with the Batman, ever since 52 Batman came out, and then it had like what was it called, Night of the Owls,
yeah.
and then now the Joker saga that's going
yeah, the
on,
Joker
and then
family.
Joker's
yeah.
got
I'm
a
gonna need to
daughter
read
or
that, 'cause
some
I need to-
shit.
It's
that sounds
long.
like-
Yeah.
I want to read. I want to find out what the hell is
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah,
But
I
you
do
know,
too.
people
That's
were
what I'm
still complaining about the continuity of Batman. Like, is it brand new? Are they still using stuff from the past? I mean, what the hell's
It's
happening?
weird. I mean, like the thing with Batman is because it has so many issues, and it
Yeah.
has like so many different branches off of
yeah.
like
That
comics and
and
stuff.
people
Because
writing
like
for
for a
him.
while, he had like 4 different major running issues all
Yeah.
under Batman. Like he
Yeah.
had Batman Incorporated, just Batman and Robin.
The
then he had
Gotham City.
Then
Yeah.
He had, I was just like, there's too
It's
much
just too
Batman.
much.
Like you
Yeah.
pull off all this shit in a day?
I know, right?
It was
What
crazy.
the-
I mean,
I
like,
thought he only
Yeah,
worked
and
one
like-
thing
like
is 96
and like when I think about it, because
right? You only get about what? Maybe
Yeah.
10 hours of night.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
it's weird because like it takes me back to like when I was reading like Amazing Spider-Man, like
Uh-huh.
all 700. Man, he had like at a point he had like 3 or 4 different major issues,
Yeah.
like major
Going
story,
on.
like comics going on.
And
Because
they
it was
do
like
that a lot, man.
yeah, and I was like,
you know,
I can't
and I
really
can
do
understand
that.
them wanting to capitalize on a character.
Yeah.
I can understand them wanting to, you know, put this character in as many situations as
Yeah.
I mean, they do that to Wolverine all the
Yeah,
damn time.
all
I
right.
think he's got like 6 books he's in.
Yeah,
right
look at
now,
that. This is what
or some
Wolverine,
shit.
Savage Wolverine.
Yeah, and
you
so
got
it's
this
like-
Wolverine and the
yeah.
X-Men.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wolverine, the
it's
X-Men. You
crazy.
got what? Hell, he's damn near. He's in the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
all of
another
them.
one. That's another one I've been catching up there. Uncanny Avengers.
Uncanny Avengers.
Uncanny-
Yeah,
Yeah,
have y'all
I started
read that
with
one
it.
yet?
I haven't.
I
Okay.
started reading
I
it.
started
So-
a little after A&X.
Yeah.
A&X.
Actually, that's
And
another
so-
thing. Also, before you get into
Uh-huh.
that, anybody looked at Avengers World? Because
Oh,
that's
yeah, I
also
forgot about
new.
that too.
I haven't read
That's
that one
fairly
yet.
new. Also,
I
yeah.
was that
It just
it was
this
at the
is
same
issue
it's-
1.
okay.
Yeah. So
I felt like they were trying to set that up right
yeah,
before.
yeah, with the Infinity.
the whole-
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm guessing that's where like this new Avengers thing kind of rolls off to. Also, I didn't say this because I just thought about it now.
Uh-huh.
Another series I'm reading also, Superior Foes of Spider-Man. Or
The
yeah,
Foes.
yeah, Superior
Superior
Foes.
Oh, I
Foes.
haven't
Yeah.
read that at all.
And Superior.
That's
what was
really
Superior
that's actually
Team Up?
pretty good. I'm not reading Superior.
Well, I know, but
yeah,
it's out there.
Yeah, that's also out there.
Read
Also,
it.
yeah. But yeah, that's the
That's
thing.
Superior
They're
Team
doing
Up.
all that Spider-Man stuff,
Yeah.
like I just said. But yeah,
Well, you
Superior
don't care,
Foes
it's
of
not here,
Spider-Man.
so
Yeah.
it don't
Yeah.
But
matter.
Superior Foes of Spider-Man was actually. I mean, they said it was
It
like
was
a
still
surprise
pretty good,
great
right?
hit,
Yeah.
and
was
it
still
is like
decent.
if you really read, it's really interesting.
It's an
It
interesting book.
gives you it gives you a villain's perspective of
Yeah.
how things go out.
Yeah, like so if they ever make it to where Otto gets into another body or some
Yeah.
shit, you're gonna know why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be that pissed. You can't be that pissed off.
I
Like,
mean,
you still gonna be mad.
You're still gonna be mad at
Yeah,
him.
but with Superior Foes, it gives you a different ground take on like these people. Like
Sure.
for the
Well, I mean,
main
or
cast
like-
is like
Yeah.
main cast is what's this dude's name? Boomerang,
Okay.
who's essentially
Uh-huh.
the leader. The Beetle, 2,
Okay.
Yeah.
she's a female member. Shocker, And
that was kind of like in
what's this dude's name? I forget. He's like really fast.
Ultimate
I can't
Spider-Man.
remember.
that was in 700.5 when they were
What?
when he 7.3 to 7.5.
Oh,
Whenever he got burned and he got stuck in that hospital with all the criminals.
He gets stuck in the hospital with criminals. What are you talking about?
Amazing Spider-Man, 700 point, I think 4 and 5.
4 and 5. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, those. Yeah,
Yeah, it was kind of the same. Because they was like they like these this hospital take care of villains whenever blah blah. And,
well, but
yeah,
I have been reading Uncanny Avengers, and I've been reading that one from the
they're up
get go.
to
Up to
16?
maybe 16, 18.
Yeah.
something
The
like
newest
that.
one
Yeah,
was like
they're about to hit their 20th issue.
yeah.
But in the beginning, it kind of started off kind of slow, you know, because they're building up the story. But whenever they start getting into the Kang saga and the Apocalypse twins,
Apocalypse, that's when
then
it
it
started
got
getting crazy.
good. And then it got good.
Scarlet
'cause
Witch
now,
about doing.
that's
where I ended.
and you see what they did.
That's where I
you haven't
ended.
seen what
That's
they
where
done
I
the
ended.
road yet.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna get good, man.
Is it?
Rogue?
Yeah,
This
well,
one might have to
yeah,
pick it up.
because I mean, it's just so the feud between Scarlet Witch and Rogue finally comes to a head point.
Yeah.
The fight between Captain America and Kang finally comes to a head point. Wolverine against his resurrected son Daken.
Yeah.
That's
I heard he was resurrected.
That's
yeah.
getting kind of
Kang.
good.
Which Kang?
Kang is the Time Lord King. Not
Oh,
Time Lord, not
right,
Blue.
okay. No,
The one
But-
that essentially came to Earth that first time, they kill him because Cap was gonna destroy the timeline.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
like that.
When
Exactly.
talking- no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, like essentially what he did is that he was raising the Apocalypse twins, and of course, you know, the Apocalypse twins is Archangel's kids.
Yeah.
Whenever he was the Apocalypse,
Yeah.
so he was raising them to mold them to his liking in order to do what he wanted them to do. But then eventually, they kind of like betrayed him, and are trying to build a world of mutants rather than coexisting with humanity. So they're pretty much leaving Earth to the humans and the humans alone. They're trying to get mutants on their own world to build a perfect mutant society.
Okay.
But
Sounds horrible.
but here's the thing though. So in order to do that, or in order to get into that process, they killed a celestial. See? And now the executioner has come to Earth because they killed a celestial. So now it's gonna be like now it's like now it's at a head point, and I'm just waiting for the next issue to come out now. So it's gonna be
very cool.
I can get
that's
back into that
crazy,
one.
yeah.
I started and then I
that's what I'm saying.
it got
stopped,
good,
and
man.
then-
Yeah, like I at first for a while there, I was going like, nah, I don't want to.
Yeah, that's where I was like, man, I'm just gonna
it's
rough
too
it through.
slow.
I'm
You know,
essentially I did want to go off and start with the Uncanny Avengers because the concept already seemed really good.
Yeah.
After like
Yeah.
AVX,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just
Yeah,
never,
exactly.
like, but you know I read that like so late, so
Yeah.
it was already in. But I guess I'll probably give it a shot
I mean,
when I get a chance.
it's a good team. You know, you got the core centrals. You know, you got
Yeah.
Thor in there and Captain America. You got Wolverine,
Yeah.
and you got Havoc there as
Yeah.
a team
Havoc.
leader.
Yeah,
now.
that's what I was saying.
He's
Yeah.
a team leader.
Because I remember they
Yeah.
had that, like, they had him featured in the issue. Essentially, like, when all new X-Men came around,
Yeah.
and, like, they had him come through because, that was an issue they had.
Exactly.
Yeah, he also
Yeah.
issued he came through in the Cable. In the
Yeah, Cable
Yeah.
X
He made an
Force.
appearance in that.
I remember
And
that.
and I mean the team has been pretty good. I mean there's been like headbutting because essentially they
Yeah.
built this team for to show
It
that
was
the
a-
Avengers can
yeah,
humans and
mutants
mutants
can
work
work
together.
together, yeah.
Media people.
So
Yeah, that's what
exactly.
essentially
What I
that's
definitely
what
know
it
was
was.
the first little arc they had. I think they were fighting Red Skull.
Red Skull, yeah.
I was just like,
And
Yeah.
that was
'cause he took-
kind of
It was weird because he went off and took
Professor
X's brain.
Xavier's brain.
a piece of it, and I was
And
like,
the thing
okay.
is, they still haven't addressed that yet.
That's,
so
that's why I was
still-
confused
okay.
about it because they
That's still
stopped
out
and went
there.
straight into
Yeah.
Apocalypse
Like,
Twins. and
yeah,
I was like,
essentially what happened is that so the Red
'Cause
Skull
he
took
escaped,
the brain,
right?
and he went to
Yeah.
the future or something where he can utilize Professor X's brain better.
yeah.
Now they tied in the Apocalypse Twins in a sense that King took them to that future, dropped the twins off because they're mutants
Yeah.
and they got these concentration camps for them and all that. and then they were molded by that future, and then came back in order to help King, but essentially, they don't help King at all. Okay. So essentially, that's what ends up happening. And at first, I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I didn't even want to finish it.
So fast.
I didn't want to finish it, but all the pieces eventually started getting sewn together, and it got really good. But now it's like, holy shit. Like, what's going to happen next? You really have no idea. Now the Executioner's back. Of course, the Watcher's there, right? He's just like,
I'm watching.
So,
I gotta watch
whatever shit
something
goes
big
down.
about to happen.
Exactly. I can't
That's
do
my
anything
job.
about it. Every time you see the Watcher, I'm pretty sure like all the Marvel characters sitting there going, "Fuck."
Except for
damn, he's about
Deadpool.
to come here and
except
watch
for Deadpool.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, that Watcher was Deadpool's #1 fan. That was the greatest.
So it's pretty good. I mean, if you hang in there a little bit longer, it gets a lot better. A lot better. So,
well, actually, because you brought up Celestial, I don't know why I thought about this. Something else that I'm also following essentially is like the Inhumanity storylines that's going on.
That's another one I gotta catch.
Because the Inhumans, like, I didn't really know too much about them because, like, I guess that was a thing they kind of just fell off the face of the earth around the 2000s. Yeah,
and
well, they really only focused at that time. They really only focused on Black Bolt.
That was the only one I knew of per se, and that was only because of like the Marvel Illuminati. But other than that, like I didn't really know too much. And then like since the Infinity happened, and that's basically a big thing for the Inhumans, they came in and. I've been following it because, they seem like a different branch of mutants, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to see how this works now, since, like, they want this big rise of Inhumans. So you're going to have these Inhumans popping up all over the world, dealing with... Yeah, essentially that's what it is. Inhumanity is, like, all these people that were human in a sense, and now they're being read out as, like, Inhumans. And so they have them, like, out there now, and they're going to start... a series called Inhuman, I believe, in February. That's going to touch up more.
Check that out.
Yeah, I love that one. The concept of that is just amazing. I mean, you basically have this one race that managed to branch out into all these different other aspects. So there are. I've seen mutants. If you got if Infinity the Heist, you had mutants that have somehow become Inhumans and had that secondary mutation. And from what I had read up, there's about to be there's really going to be a split in this between Black Bolt and Medusa.
Well, I mean, because like the thing was, they said that Black Bolt dead, but him and his brother both like just went off and disappeared. Yeah,
and then you got the other 4 wives.
Yeah, they're all together. Well, Medusa and like essentially most of her people that were up in the city they're down there or whatnot, and they're just trying to figure out what to do with all these new Inhumans people.
So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
All right, is it me?
Yeah. What?
Because I can't wait to tell y'all this. Because I know none of y'all read this.
All right.
So,
Transformers?
Screw what you know. Hey, fuck what you heard about Transformers in the past. This shit now, the way that they're taking this with Dark Cybertron has, like, fucking just completely blown my mind. What you have is, you have pretty much 3 different factions. And not in the traditional sense. Okay. Well, 4. You still have a splinter cell of Decepticons that still believe in that Decepticon wave that Megatron once had. Megatron is not there anymore. Yeah. For those of you that need to catch up, pretty much the war on Earth is over. Prime has left. Has
retired.
Pretty much renounced his name of Optimus Prime. He is now known as Orion Pax, his original name.
It looks like a fucking truck.
Was given, I know, right? Was given.
It sounds like a pass down. Like when you're Optimus Prime, you gotta look like a fucking truck. Like what's
No.
Well, I mean, you have the whole cab thing. Ultimately, is that's given to a Prime.
Yeah, but essentially, whenever they give up the spark, they go back to their original form.
But he
so
never.
He's still a truck.
He gave up
so
the
his
Matrix.
original form was a truck.
No, his original form was a bookkeeper.
No, he had like a small. It was
So
like
you
a.
know, I was like,
It was a smaller van.
it
It was a smaller van, I guess. And when he actually took on the Matrix, he got a larger stature. But that was he never lost that. So he never lost any of it. So even though he gave it up, it's like the Matrix was still saying, "Well, hey nigga, guess what?
Like, hey, we're still with."
So
like,
he left. The rest of them took what leftover Decepticons they did have back to Cybertron. Among letting out a beacon, letting everybody know that the war was over, you had these non-combatants that they called nails. These were Cybertronians that didn't want to get on either side, so they just left the fighting and left Cybertron. So they're back now, and it initially started off with them just trying to come to grips with everything. Megatron was gone, nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Prime had left. So they voted for Bumblebee to be in charge. Well,
of course,
Hot Rod,
he can't talk.
Hot Rod gets pissed off and is like, well, fuck this shit. You know, hey, I don't want to be.
No, the Bumblebee you're thinking about is in a different timeline.
Yeah,
I know.
Well, this one essentially was still a bitch at first.
Yeah.
But
damn.
so
but he can still talk.
yeah.
Bitch was
But
wrong,
he gets voted on. Rodimus is like, man, this is BS. I should be the leader or whatever. So Rodimus says, all right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go and find this lost race, which they did a nice turn into religion and just bringing more of a giving Cybertron more of a deeper history than what we've known. Because the way we've always known it is, well, they've been fighting for centuries over this. Well, this brings it in because Hot Rod is like, well, hey, look, I'm gonna go and find this group called the Knights of Cybertronia. And
Camelot.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is a group that was a bunch of nobles. And Rodimus used the Matrix or a map that the Matrix had inside of it to find where they are. So he goes off and takes off on this journey. Meanwhile, back on Cybertron, you have a three-way vie for power between Starscream, a nail by the name of Metalhawk, and Bumblebee. You know, and Bumblebee is like, hey, look, we still are kind of fighting the Decepticons a little bit, but we need to keep them in check. Starscream's like, why there's no need for us to hold them in check? And Metalhawk's like, hey, well, look, there's no need for violence at all.
Yeah.
Starscream convinces Metalhawk to be on his side. So that leaves Bumblebee somewhat out in the cold. In a strange, well, not strange, in an amazing twist, because I'm going to try and speed through it a little bit here. You have a resurrected Megatron using a body that was reconstructed by Shockwave. Right at the time that he shows up, Starscream had just been announced as the new leader of the Cybertrons, thanks to a prophecy that was put in that said that the Metro Titan, not Metroplex, Metro Titan, the even larger one, one of those would show up. I did say one because there was plenty of them. One of those would show up and acknowledge the new leader. Okay. So one shows up on Cybertron, and guess who he announces as a new leader? Starscream. So this shit really freaks everybody the fuck out. Like, what? Starscream? Seriously? Starscream gets voted in after he sets up Metalhawk to get shot by him. Wow. And wins the election. So after he wins the election, he kicks all the Autobots and the remaining Decepticons out, except for those that want to follow him. At the time that he does this, guess who shows up? In a brand new body. And using one of Bombshell's cerebral shells, had actually taken over Prowl. So Prowl is essentially, at this point, a Decepticon. Kills Wheeljack, point blank shot in the face. And when I saw this scene, I was like, wait, are you serious?
What is...
The combiner technology of old, they perfected. So much to where anybody could be an interchangeable part. And guess who ends up being the head of Devastator? The The same man that just shot Wheeljack.
Oh.
So at this point, I'm really like,
wow.
What?
Wow.
They put this in 2 different books.
Okay.
More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise. So More Than Meets the Eye, if I remember right, it follows Rodimus's Trail of the Lost Light. And Robots in Disguise follows everything that happens on Cybertron.
Yeah.
Now, while this is all going on, Rodimus is out trying to find the lost light. During Rodimus's trip, several Autobots die. Cyclonus switches sides. Well, doesn't switch sides, but basically becomes a part of the group, no longer listed as a Decepticon.
Yeah.
Ultra Magnus, in a shocking twist of events, we find out that the original Ultra Magnus died early on in the war.
So
Tyrus, who was the guy that basically wrote most of the Cybertronian laws, decided that what he would do is he would take the moniker of Ultra Magnus and use it as an institution. So what you have now is you have anybody can become Ultra Magnus. Well, almost anybody. There are certain Cybertronians that fit into this category called 1%ers.
Okay.
Now these 1%ers are pure born Cybertronians. How can I put it? There's 2 ways to be born.
Yeah,
you can either, your spark can either somewhat lift out of the ground, out of these pools, and you're born that way, or you're born using a kind of splicing thing where they take a spark of an already living Cybertronian and take a piece and then hatch it that way. So only the 1%ers are able to manipulate cybernetics farther outside of their body space.
Yeah.
So basically, you remember the Pretenders? Okay, so think Pretenders, but they're actually able to do this instead of actually having to link up.
Yeah.
So every 1%er that Tyrus would come to would have the option of being Ultra Magnus. And so the current Ultra Magnus is actually a guy by the name of Minimus Omnibus. They don't find this out until they get captured by Tyrus, and Ultra Magnus at that point is stripped of his armor. Then Tyrus says, well, you know what? The whole project of Ultra Magnus isn't working, so I'm going to bring back Starsaber, who comes out of fucking nowhere. Starsaber's supposed to have been gone since the war. And so he brings back Starsaber, and basically says, okay, the moniker of Ultra Magnus is dead. Also, he has part of the Lost Light, part of that group, and was using their spark to activate this bomb. And this bomb was supposed to affect everybody that was born via the splicing. Because the theory was if you were hatched from the ground of Cybertron, then you were pure.
Yeah.
However, if you were spliced, your spark was able to be corrupt, which means, in a sense, pure born, you can do good. If you're spliced, there's a tendency for you to become evil.
Right.
And so they figured, well, most of the Decepticons were all spliced.
Right.
So essentially, his idea was, well, I'm going to detonate this bomb. This bomb is going to go throughout the entire galaxy, and it's going to affect all spliced Cybertronians.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is not everybody that was spliced became evil. So Rodimus and them stopped that. At the same time that this is going on, we follow Pax a little bit, and we start to hear about the 13 ores. 13 seeds of Energon were planted by Shockwave millions of years ago, and each one shows up on a different planet. Earth was Ore 14, I think it was. It was one of the more pure, more hypersensitive forms of Energon. But there is a 13th ore, which is the ore of death and resurrection. If you use this ore, you basically can't die. In a fight with in a fight between Shockwave and Soundwave, Ravage was blasted and pretty much had a huge hole in him using this ore. Soundwave thought he was dead. Continued the fight until Shockwave stopped him and said, "Hey, look, stop. Look at this." And sure enough, you see his body start to reconstruct itself.
Wow.
What does this all lead up to? Well, there's a dead kind of an opposite dead universe that runs parallel to ours or to theirs, and in this universe is Galvatron, Jaxus, and is it Sentinel Prime?
Yeah.
Sentinel Prime.
It's well, I know it's the two Galvatron,
Jaxus. Was Sentinel killed during the war within?
Here's a question though about that. Now you said the ore of death and reconstruction, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how did you just describe like the resurrection part of it? So what? I mean, does the death part explain into it? Like
they haven't really gotten much into the whole death ore thing, but what they've started to show us now is they've shown us the two different worlds or different universes, and Shockwave is actually now trying to bring over, because the concept is if you're alive and you go over into the dead universe, you can survive a little bit, but after a while the dead universe will start to eat you. Once it's fully consumed you still keep your body, but basically, like, think of it as you having no soul. With that, you can't cross over to the living universe.
Okay.
But
almost like the dead zone.
Cyclonus managed to do it because Cyclonus was one that was over there. Cyclonus managed to do it using another spark. Like, he got a piece of a spark from somebody else that brought him in.
And Cyclonus is crazy.
To stop all this and to stop them from bringing over the other Prime, which, by the way, he still had the original Matrix. So that Matrix now is the polar opposite of the current Matrix in this universe.
Wow.
Prime, Rodimus, Cyclonus, and was it Brainstorm? All go over to the dead universe to kind of stop this thing at the source. When they get there, they all have this little protective beacon that stops the dead zone from consuming them, but Cyclonus breaks, so he'll pretty much end up being stuck there.
Right.
They find Hardhead, which you'd have to read Hardhead's Spotlight from a couple of years ago to find out how he ended up getting there. But he basically got shot in the head by Brainstorm, and so Brainstorm was like apologizing for that profusely.
Was like,
but he told him to do it, so it was like, I'm not really worried about it. But hey, he would make mention of it, like, hey, I'm not cool. I'm not really worried about it. But you did shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
So while they're trying to stop this, Shockwave was trying to use some space bridge technology to bring over Prime and that whole crew. Space bridge he had is broken down. It's destroyed somewhat, but he has a secondary space bridge that he actually inputted in Megatron. Now Megatron was disabled because Wheeljack was one of the people that helped rebuild his body.
Right.
Wheeljack inputted a fail-safe code that, when spoken out loud, would open up Megatron's spark casing. If your spark casing is open, it basically paralyzes you and puts you in a state of suspended animation. So that's where Megatron is at this point. Now, Megatron is at Starscream's headquarters, kind of posted up in his one little room.
Yeah.
Darkhawk, in a crazy sense of, and in a crazy twist of, I don't know what the fuck you were thinking. Starscream has Darkhawk's body laying in like a ceremonial throne room.
Right.
Darkhawk's body starts animating itself. So he comes back to life. Knocks out Starscream, takes Megatron's body over to Shockwave, and Shockwave starts using the space bridge that he implemented in Megatron's body to pull out the other two. At this point, every Decepticon and Autobot that are left over on Cybertron decide to join forces. So what you got at this point right now,
what in the world is going on?
Galvatron Galvatron was pulled out
right
before that group broke in and stopped Shockwave from bringing out the other Prime. You have the original Optimus still in the dead zone with the other three trying to stop the major parties.
Yeah.
And once they get out, they free Megatron. And what they left us with at the end, because the other issue comes out, I believe, today. What they left us with at the end was Galvatron rips Megatron in half.
What?
Like torso rip, front, top, bottom.
Just like how
Galvatron straight up was done.
How Michael Bay had his
Shimon ripped in that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, I am like completely floored. They have done an excellent job with just introducing the new concepts. The whole thing about Ultra Magnus being not just a person but an institution, like that was one of the big shockers to me. I was like, seriously? Because in the past, like War Within Magnus was just a recolored, well, not even a recolored.
Okay, so when you say institution, what do you mean by that? Like,
a figurehead. So like, what Uncle Sam would be.
Okay, like that.
So anybody can dress up as it and be that person, but it's not a real person. In the past, I've seen Magnus to be just a light blue colored Optimus Prime lookalike.
Basically, Optimus is supposed
brother. Yeah. But in this instance, it's like they're not even related. It's like, what the fuck? Then you have they deal with things such as age and getting older. Ratchet is one of the members of the Lost Light who Ratchet's hands became unsteady. So Ratchet found another
pair of hands.
Another scientist who was corrupt, was formerly an Autobot, went to a Decepticon. They found him on another planet. To sum that up, he died by rust, or at least they thought he died by rust, and Ratchet took his hands. So Ratchet has new hands. You have a psychiatrist on board named Rung, who...
no, ridiculous that sounds.
What's even more ridiculous is nobody knew. Like, there were little small jokes here and there. One of the jokes was they never knew what he transformed into.
Who?
Rung, because Rung never showed what he transformed into. He carried around like what looked like a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
And he had a wheel on his back, but they never knew what he really transformed into.
Yeah.
Come to find out, what Rung transformed into, they couldn't even put him in a category, so they made up a category for him of ornament.
Oh,
because what he changed into was just like some like large piece of metal.
Alright.
Okay.
You got
can you transform and put you on my tree right quick?
Yeah, look, I got you.
You got another Transformer who, before the Lost Light took off, was found literally minutes before it took off. His story was he was alive back before the Ark took off. But before the Ark took off, he had fallen in his thing and became deactivated. So millions of years later, they end up finding him, putting him on the Ark, and then he comes up with that. So it's like I could go on forever, but I'm not going to.
You can, yeah.
because they added so much stuff into it. I mean, like I said, this is not the Transformers that I knew when I was growing up.
Right.
Simon Furman is one of the editors in chief over Transformers, and I know if you guys have never heard the name before, the UK Transformers is basically what made him who he was. Like, that dude is like the quintessential. Pretty much. I mean, that would be, he would pretty much be Primus, because everything he wrote is set in stone, and it is history.
That is it.
Cool, man.
That's
So yeah, go check out all those.
Check out all those.
All those series we just mentioned. There'll probably be links in the bottom.
Maybe not. Who knows?
So check that out. The actual video of us will be out before I put this one out. So.
I don't know what actual video it is.
The one with our faces.
The one we did like months ago?
Yup.
The one that came out like way back in November?
Wait, you're talking...
Like the fuck?
Oh, I wasn't there for that one.
So until next time, we're out.
Right.